Hey everybody, I'm Katarina from Sustainably Rooted, and welcome to my classroom. This is my first classroom video, and today we're going to talk about what I did for my open house, give you a quick classroom tour, and kind of talk a little bit about maybe some of the things I have planned for the first week of school. So for those that don't know, I teach middle school, I teach math, and I am in a small district, and so we have a lot of kids. It just actually, there's a lot of things that a small district means to middle school, I guess. So it makes kind of a big deal. We just had open house and we start school next week. So I have my classroom's not ready to go. I'm not worried about it being ready for that very first day. It will happen over time, but it's ready for the first day. So we're gonna get started. Let's talk about open house. So open house, they come in and do they kind of run through like the first, second, all the way to 6. They go to each class period for 10 minutes, almost like stations, like they're rotating through each. And so typically classrooms like do a presentation. And so this year for the first time I did a QR type thing. So for the first, when everybody comes in, they saw this on my board. And it talks about like what to do when we come in. So grab your phone, find a QR code, and then get started. And so they'll grab their phone, come over to the QR code, and get started that way. So I've got them situated all around the classroom. So there's one here. That one's about me. Then there's this one over here. This one is how can I help? So some different help resources. And they go all the way around the outside of my classroom. What is expected from me in class, so it talks about these STAR expectations, all the way to what is a flipped classroom. What do I do when I'm absent, and how will I be graded? And it pulls up a slideshow to it's just one slide from that slideshow, and then that slideshow is then available to everybody at the end. And the last one is right here, and it's like, what will I do in class? So then I also, not only do I have like this scavenger hunt piece, if you will, that they're kind of interacting with the environment, but then I also have examples out here. So I have some examples of what notebooks look like. I have some examples of what some different task cards might look like. So this is what I'm gonna do for the first day. This wasn't here, but scavenger hunts, stations. I have textbooks out, and I've got, again, more station activities and more notebooks. So lots of different examples so they can kind of come around and interact with the classroom. So, so for the first 5 minutes, I had them doing that. And then for the last 5 minutes, I kind of clicked to the next slide. So the next slide, I went through how to contact me. And then I also went through and talked about, well, the most common question is about the flipped classroom. Yeah, I'm done with that. I'll just put myself in front of me. So again, what is my flipped classroom? And so we talk about they go home and watch a video, then they come in here and interact and practice and ask questions and work with partners, and then they go home and practice, and then we kind of do this cycle again and again and again until the end of the unit. We put the whole unit out at once, and it's just awesome. So that is what we did for open house, and I thought it went really well. I got a lot of props from the superintendent and our principal, so I was really stoked about that and thought I would share. And it's really easy to make the QR code, so just really briefly, you're welcome, like I Googled it, that's how I did it. And what I did is I just did one slide, the first slide was whatever I wanted them to see. I then made it available online, made the second slide the QR code, and linked it to that slide. And so they could just do it. But very easy, definitely would recommend it. Lots of different options as well. So let's do a quick tour of my classroom. This is what it will look like when kids walk in for the most part, other than the desks. But so I've got my smart board, so they'll come in and see on the smart board what to do and how to kind of get started. I've got all these countertops that I keep pretty clear for the most part. I'm very minimalist, as many of you hopefully know by now. And then I have this student station area here. Got clipboards, I've got some of their textbooks here, and then over here I've got tape, which we use all the time. I've got whiteboards, and erasers and pens, and then down below extra paper and pencils and rulers. And this is just one space for my student station. Here I've got a nice blank bulletin board. I haven't decided what to put onto it. Right here is my clipboard for signing out to go to the bathroom. Right here is my sign out pass, stapler, and everything's like labeled right here so they know where to put things back for the most part. We've got this is the emergency kit that we have by the PTA. Up here is our emergency clipboards that we have to grab, and then these covers were made by Sewing Club. They've just got magnets around the corners to drop in case of emergencies for lockdowns. My recycling bin, our schedules, and I have these little clips on top of the schedules so that you can like unclip them. So with the special schedules, I can switch them out, but I flip it over. We do like a late start one day. So on each of these, the backs of each of these is the late start. Hand sanitizer. We've got garbage can, and then I've got this like book little reading section, and it's really, these things are like what a kid needs potentially when they come in and out of the classroom, and they don't, maybe they just are grabbing it really quickly while they sit down, before they sit down, or maybe tends to be kind of more, I don't know what the word is, like distracted. I guess people over here are distracted. So I try to put things that like maybe they need to grab something, they're trying to be a little bit more, I don't know, stealthy about it, and that's okay. Like they don't want the class to notice that they're grabbing it is really the key. So I've got books over here for reading, I've got extra pencils, and then these right here are our retake forms. So our policy is that they can correct their tests, and then they can do a retake for their tests, and they can retake, this is the first year, but they're gonna retake it to 100%, because if they're going through all the work and making that, and they show that they truly understand, then we're gonna give them that 100%, and we'll just note that in the grade book to communicate. So this is the papers that they'll need, page 1 here and page 2 here. Of course, all those wonderful calculators. Right now, nothing's labeled, they just go into pockets, but you definitely could label them. Right here, this is our STAR expectations. This is not school-wide, this is just what I did for my classroom. I have done a lot of training in PBIS, so this is what I use in the classroom, but our school just adopted PBIS, so we'll be changing it later throughout. This is where we call them skeleton notes. It's like the bones of the notes. It's like just the outline. So these are note outlines so kids can kind of fill them in, almost like guided notes, but even more bare bones. So that's what they'll have here to pick them up. A nice blank wall. Actually, we'll do file cabinet. All right, so file cabinet, top and bottom are my lessons, and then these are my files. We keep all the kids' tests, so this is my one class and the other class. And I just thought it would look better if I just did blue, green, but blue is for one class and green is for the other class. So everything I do, I coordinate blue and green for that reason. I had everything already coordinated that way, and then the books are purple and orange, so oh well. Then this section is actually our didn't do homework section. So if I didn't do my video notes, I have to come in here. If I need headphones, I have a headphones and sign out sheet. I'm sitting at either this desk here or this desk here. And what I'm doing is up on the board here. And it's just these minimal papers that are hanging up here. So these are some frequently asked questions about missing work and extra problems. Here's what to do if I'm absent. So it says absent, and then it has me, what do I do in class? What do I do at home? Here are the folders that it's referencing. So if I was gone on Wednesday, I'm gonna look and see, and I'm in this class, I'm gonna look and see in here the paper for Wednesday. And then I'm gonna check Schoology, go through that. I do need to do 10 problems, and then to make up for the classwork I missed. And this is that information about the 10 problems here. So I'm trying to make this area a little bit more self-sufficient, if you will. So I've got 2 tables to do that. And then I've got my turn-in bin here, which right now is just housing our notebook setup stuff, so I can easily get to those. I personally just use my turn-in bin mostly for when I put tests in there. It's mostly for me, but kids can put their retakes in there. That's the only thing they're really turning in. So I have it for my benefit, which is next to my desk, so I can quickly grab and grade. I'm gonna do, this is my desk space here, and I'm gonna do my own like desk tour and how I kind of set myself up for success at another date. This is just my general classroom tour. So here's one more space, is that this is the other student stations, student stuff. So one's on one side of the classroom, one's on the other side. So this side of the classroom will grab their items from this side, and then the other side will grab from the other side, just to kind of split it up. So the last thing I'll talk about is just desk and overall environment of our classroom, my classroom. So you can kind of see I've got 7 desk groupings set up. And again, back here is where I've got my absent kiddos. So if they were absent, then they are sitting back here to make up the video that they missed, because they can't practice if they haven't seen the video from the lesson. So they need to watch the video before they can practice. So that's why we have them do that first. So we work in table groups all the time. How I have it set up for the most part, we'll go to this table for example, is we do a lot of partner work. So these two often are their partners, partner here. Sometimes we do group work, so there's that group space as well. They can talk with the person next to them and get help, but I also encourage them to ask other partners from across the table, like the one across the table. They're not actively working with them, but they can ask for help. And then I do groups, like help groups and stuff, and usually I tend to do my help group like here. I have a stool right there so I can kind of get to some of these people. I'm gonna try it out this year, this like U shape, but in the past they've been connected. And in my old school, I had them really spaced apart. But it doesn't work physically in this classroom. And then the thing I like about it is I can do 2 horseshoe type loops, I guess. So I can start over here at my desk, and I can walk the outside of my desk, the desks, and then kind of walk around the middle, this middle part here, and go back to my desk. So things like checking homework, attendance, doing quick like proximity, being in proximity to everybody. We do have backpacks with us in our classroom, so we have to have really big aisleways to have movement taking place. And I do like to keep it really minimal for sensory sake. People, I think sensory wise, they get really overstimulated quickly. I do add decorations that are more seasonal, like, so I'll put fall leaves and fall things up and just kind of rotate with the seasons. To make it a little bit more interesting. But for the most part, I'm not a new teacher, but it is very bare because that's how I do. If it's on my wall, it has to be actively used, regularly used, and something that is really useful. I don't like random posters that only is like for the kids to look at, I guess, and just be reading random stuff. I don't really tend to do that very often. So. The last thing, so we went over what I do for open house, we went over just my overall classroom layout, and then the second thing, or the last thing I'll share is kind of like overall what we do for the first week of school. So some of the things we do at the first week of school is we set up notebooks. Then after we set up our notebooks, we're gonna do this thing called Footloose, and they'll have these different task cards, if you will. They'll fill it out, and then it says they give 2 different answer questions optional, and it will talk about if your answer is 33, write your shoe size. If your answer is 330, write or draw your favorite food. And so then on this paper here, that's their recording sheet. And that's something I got off of, well, I got it from a coworker, but they got it off, whatever it's, Teachers Pay Teachers. So. Anyway, those are kind of the 2 main things we do at the beginning of the year. The last one I have is a get to know you game. So the other thing I do is this get to know you bingo. And I don't know where I got it from, so I have no idea. I just have had it for multiple years. So it just says find somebody who traveled outside the United States, who enjoys dancing, and then you have to write their name. They can't write their name, you have to be the one. They say their name, you write it. And the goal of this is to just get to know people around your classroom. So those are the things that I do on the first week of school. This About Me bingo, the Footloose math activity, and the setting up our notebooks. And we kind of start getting started on math, and then I just embed more get to know you things throughout the first couple weeks. We go over expectations regularly for the first couple weeks and things like that. So lots packed in this one wonderful video. And don't forget to click like and subscribe, because I have so many other things that we talk about on my channel. And this is my first classroom video, so you don't even know all the other things maybe that I have done in my videos. So take a look. Have a good rest of your day.